It's very easy for us to sit here and talk about, a moment that changes the season for Manchester United, but, they have got a late win at home against a side in the bottom three. The point is they have to build on this now big time, don't they? It's about the next few results.
Yeah, absolutely, because they've got some really difficult games coming up, and if they play anywhere near as badly as they played in the first half, they're just going to lose all the time. I mean, they were 10th, I think, this before the game started, and they were 10th for a reason. And listening to the boys in the studio, their performances have been nigh on woeful when you consider the order and the history of Manchester United Football Club. So, yeah, they got out of jail today in the second half of the game, but they need to carry on because they've got some really difficult games coming up, and they'll lose them, Jake, because they're not good enough.
And they've got Juve twice, Chelsea, Manchester City, all in the next 6 games. I mean, that's quite a list of games to be playing, but it has to be better. They have to get the results now. This is almost like the moment where it either changes or doesn't.
You know what, Jake? Today they come up against a Newcastle side that have hardly scored any goals this year. It's the first time they've scored 2 goals, and they could have scored 5. Defensively, they play like that against any of those sides, they're going to be banging trouble again. So it's a great result, but you don't want to kind of fear that it's just papered over the cracks.
Yeah.
That is the worry, I suppose, when you kind of look forward. Enjoy the moment, shown great character, brilliant spirit within the team. Fantastic from Jose to make the changes at the right time. But, going forward, I don't think Manchester United fans, or I don't sit here and look at Manchester United and think, they're going to be fine. No, at all. So I think that's the worry, I suppose.
I said last week it was a pivotal moment, and I thought so. Today, even though I was here, signs up saying, we support Jose, it's the board's fault. The crowds were singing a song, a derogatory song about it's not Jose, it's the board. And something has changed now at United, and I wonder whether if they lose a game again, one of those games, whether it'll come around quite quickly. And I think it's set in motion now for change here.
Right, they see that second half there and you can go, wow, there was that, we talked about the commitment, the desire, the fight and stuff, yeah? But when I've watched Man United for probably about a year now, probably especially this season, I don't see a real identity. We spoke about it before. I don't really see an identity. That's the frustrating thing. When you have a team for 2 or 3 years, surely you have an imprint of your personality, an imprint of your philosophy and ideas within that team. I don't see it here. We showed some clips before the game about Manchester United. When you watch them, I couldn't really pin down and say this is their go-to pattern of play. When the keeper's got the ball, where do they go? When the keeper gets the ball at Man City, you know where they're going to be. The people on the park are going to be. When the ball gets into the forward areas, where are the front three of Liverpool going to be? You've got an idea. There's movement, there's interchange, there's this. The 2 wingers at Man City, wide, high and wide. There's an identity to these teams. The teams that Man United are trying to catch. Where's Man United's identity in the football sense? That's what I look at and I'm frustrated with. Because far too often I see things don't go the way they're meant to go at the beginning of the game. The ball goes up to Fellaini. Yeah. And that's the out ball. Watford, they done it. Got the goals off the back of going up to Fellaini. I don't see where the ball goes into Pogba and that's a trigger for players to move. That's what happens at the biggest and best teams. The ball goes into particular players on the team and people have movements off that player. Or if they go to the left back, where does part of the players in the team shift to?
And what does that come down to?
That comes down to getting your ideas across to the players so they know what to do.
It comes down to the manager.
Yeah,
what they do on the
that's the type of scrutiny that comes with the territory.
They've won 3-0 in the second half, and they played great, and they played nice and quick, and they moved forward, and they had confidence. But the way they finished the game, they're not going to start the next game like that with that formation. So it was as if it was just
all or nothing.
Right, all or nothing. Right, let's go, let's get forward, and let's see what can happen.
Final question: with this result in mind, do you see any change other than Jose Mourinho not lasting too much longer than Manchester United manager? As Steve has already said, he still thinks that is going to be the eventual outcome.
I think a question from the people above would have been, can he get a reaction out of this squad? Can he get a reaction on that pitch? The last couple of weeks, we haven't seen that. Today, there's been a shift. And to be honest with you, you have to give him credit, because on that line, I said in the previous show, he's going to need a rub and a warm down. The amount of movement he showed, the amount of passion, desire, the way he was pushing his team on from the touchline. That's what people want to see.
What do you make of the hype then around Jadon Sancho?
He's the best, potentially the best talent we've got, bar none.
So it's not hype?
No chance. He come from the same area as me, so I know a lot about him. I know his dad. Seen him play a fair bit. A lot of my mates are very, very close to him and the family. And this kid's the truth. He's got everything. He's got skill, pace, tenacity, desire, commitment. He gets goals. He's top assist man in Europe at the moment. He's only played about 180 minutes, whatever it is.
He made his first start today, didn't he? For Borussia Dortmund.
And he set one up. I saw the game.
That's the one worrying thing I do find, is that our young players are now looking elsewhere. Not in the Premier League. They're looking to go elsewhere.
It's positive, though, isn't it?
Positive in some respects, but I want to be in England and I want to watch young English players come through.
I agree.
That's the problem. And Phil Foden, you could question whether he's right to stay there. I think he's earning great experience training with the best players. That's fantastic. But at the end of the day, you find out about people out there on the pitch. And it's like the same with Loftus-Cheek's the perfect example. Yeah. Went to a World Cup off the back of a good few games for Crystal Palace. Comes back to Chelsea, sit down, get on the bench.
So how can it be a negative to go abroad, play top flight in Germany?
It's a positive in some extent, but ideally you want him to come through here.
You want to see talent here. Unfortunately, they've got this raft of players above them where there's so much money in the Premier League. Why take a chance on a 17, 18-year-old kid when his form could go like that, when you can go and buy, a full international who's played 50 times for this country? You can go and get him from anywhere you want. And that's the sad thing for all us English players sitting here. We all got our chances at a young age coming through the clubs, and that's what we want to see. We want to see more and more English players come through, but we know how difficult it is.
You know what? A big part of Jadon's makeup, which is being proved now, is his mentality. For a young kid at that age who's being told he's the next best thing at one of the biggest clubs in our country, for him to say, hold on a minute, I don't believe I'm going to get the minutes, I'm going to go elsewhere, and then start producing, that's massive.
That's exactly what people are saying on here. And thanks for your comments. James says, Jadon Sancho moving to the Bundesliga is not a failure of the English system. It's about a brave young man making a decision to try and better himself. If others follow his lead, it will not be to the detriment of English football. It will make our national team better.
It comes from the owners of the clubs, though. It comes from the owners of the clubs that you're going to be afforded the time to integrate young players into this team. We spend how much ever money, how many millions a year on our youth system at our training grounds. And as an owner, you have to demand to see a certain quota come through.
There's something else about this as well, though, isn't there? Because you could look at Loftus-Cheek at Chelsea, and you don't get the impression that he would make Chelsea a worse side or would put pressure on the manager. There still seems to be this thing about English
system,
players.
Jay, that's why. When you come through the system, it's not as hard for the club to kind of go, well, you're not playing or you're not going to come through.
Paid no
when they put money on your head, somebody's got to answer for something, because that's how I came through the system. I was at Nottingham Forest. Newcastle put down huge money for me at the time as a teenager, and I arrive at Newcastle, and I'm telling you, my first 2 weeks at Newcastle, I was shocking. Like in training, I was absolutely shocking. Couldn't control about it.
That didn't change much over the years.
Leave it out. I had to get that in. All right, lads. But because of the money they put on me, Bobby, and because he was the one who really kind of said, I believe it, and that's why you're going to spend it, they got to play you.